everyone. Welcome to Mindset Live. Happy Monday.
Yes, happy Monday. I am John.
I am Renee, and we've switched our...
Yeah, we switched it up, but I'm not going to say anything yet because Renee told me we're going to go on and we're going to ease in. We're going to ease in. We're going to let people join. We're going to ease in. We're going to ease into this. So, okay. So Adrian's here. Hi, Adrian. Well, now we can get started. No, I'm excited to I'm very excited about our guest tonight. Her name is Jen Lauren. She's the host of the very successful podcast, Dare to Self-Care. She is a YouTuber and a digital creator. And she has an amazing mindset. So, you want to bring her on?
Yeah, let's bring her on. Okay. Waiting for Jen.
This is my favorite part. There she is.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Jen. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I'm honored.
That's so sweet. Oh my God. I'm so excited to talk to you. Like, I feel like we have so much to talk about.
I know. I'm so excited to talk to you guys.
Yes. So first, let's start from the beginning. Tell us a little bit of your background so everyone gets to know that.
Yeah, I am a YouTuber. I grew up in Long Island, New York. I went to Tulane University, and from there I entered the world of PR. I've been at a bunch of PR agencies, and on the side I have a YouTube channel, a podcast. I'm working with brands. There's just a lot going on. I'm never just doing one thing at a time. But really my whole message is about self-care, taking care of yourself before you can even take care of other people. And I think that's something that I had to learn along the way in my life. So that's definitely an important message to me.
So when did you learn that? Was this like a pandemic thing, or was it before that?
So I actually think during the pandemic, mental health and anxiety has been spoken about a lot more. But growing up for me, mental health was always a topic of conversation because there's addiction in my family, grief, depression, it was just always a topic, but I didn't feel like it was really spoken about online a lot. And as I grew up on camera and stuff, I've always been, I was a childhood actress and always wanted to be on the camera. But as I was in college and I started going down the YouTube rabbit hole, I discovered Lauren Elizabeth, who's a YouTuber, and she spoke all about anxiety. She would talk about her panic attacks, but she was so funny and endearing, and I had never really seen it been spoken about on the internet before, even as much in my group of friends or anything. So I started realizing my two interests coming together of, wait, this isn't spoken about enough, and now there's sort of a purpose behind my fun little thing I like to do on camera. So that's sort of how that happened. And I think I've just always been, I'm the person in my family who's always been the normal one and takes care of everyone else. Mm-hmm. And then you realize as time goes on, oh wait, my problems aren't small just because they're not these huge, mental illness or addiction or anything like that. And I was always trying to take care of other people, and I just had to learn along the way. I'm actually a better friend, a better sister, a better daughter, and everything if I'm taking care of myself. So that's sort of how that all came about.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow. That is just, wow. At your age to actually come to all of that is really, really amazing because,
thank you.
It's just incredible. People go their whole lives.
Yeah. I mean, look at us. It took me till 48, living with extreme anxiety, until I was able to make those changes in my life, and I was able to figure out and, choose my mindset as it was. You're so far ahead of the game. It's so wonderful to see,
Thank you.
Because, you're going to be able to spread that message to so many people. And when people your own age are hearing and listening, it's very impactful.
Thank you. I think that also does have a lot to do with social media now, and that people can use their platforms to talk about this. And I always tell my parents, it's just different now. It's cool to speak about your feelings online. And I think there's so many benefits to just putting yourself out there, saying how you feel online, and you have no idea like how many people will relate to like the random little thing that gives you anxiety, or need advice on like, wait, what is meditation? How do I do this? Does it really work? Like the little things like that. So, and it's been amazing, like in my podcast, to be able to bring other people into the conversation, because I don't know it all. I talk about my own personal experience, but it's cool to talk to experts, even you guys, on like actual tools and how we can nurture our mental health and feel good and like actually feel better. And I think that's also a positive side to like going through some shit when you're younger, because it's like instead of dwelling in it, it's like, oh, this stuff actually makes you stronger and you can learn these lessons earlier on. So I think it's just like a positive spin on having to deal with things like addiction and whatnot in your family. It's like, oh wait, I'm learning so many lessons as I grow up, instead of it hitting me in the face way later on.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. There's so many things in there.
Yeah,
I think
lots
that
to
there's
unpack. It's
so
amazing.
much to unpack there. But first of all, you are like giving people permission almost to take care of themselves. And that's what it is. Like,
Yeah, we find so often, we're all doing the same thing, coming from it from slightly different places, but we're all doing the same thing in terms of trying to get people to take care of themselves through natural remedies, whether that's meditation or whether that's affirmation or whether that's conversation.
or
And-
all of the above.
Or
Right.
all of those
Which
things.
is,
And I think that the authenticity that you're bringing to it, I mean, how do you find that you can just be yourself when so many people are having, that would love to be able to express themselves, but just don't take that next step online and go to that next place? How do you do that?
Well, thank you, first of all. There's a few things. One, I would say it doesn't always have to be on camera. It doesn't have to be using your voice. Like there's so many ways. I'm a verbal communicator. Like the way I get things out is I talk everything through with my loved ones. I love therapy. I love podcasting and YouTube. Like that's just how I communicate. But a lot of people, I actually spoke about this with Taylor Ray Almonte on my podcast, because she's an activist. And I was like, how do you get people involved in activism who maybe don't want to like do an IG live and talk about it? And she was like, there's so many other ways to help. And I think it's the same with putting yourself out there online. Like if you're more of a written person, write a blog or, do a written Instagram post. I think it's just more about finding what works for you. And there's so much, you could do a Pinterest board and like just pinning other people's stuff. Like there's so many ways that you can do it without being super comfortable on camera. But how I've gotten comfortable is, I mentioned before, like I definitely grew up on camera, and my mom brought me into the city to do like acting classes with people outside of where I grew up, which I think got me used to like talking to different types of people and learning to be on camera and things like that. So it does come naturally to me. But I will say, like, this is always advice I give to anyone who DMs me, like, I want to start a YouTube channel, but I'm scared or whatever. I'm always like, if you go back to like your favorite YouTuber's first video, they were probably so cringeworthy and like quiet. Like it's a muscle. It just takes practice. And if you like, for example, let's say you want to start a podcast and you're thinking about it for so long and you're envisioning yourself like speaking like Joe Rogan, and you're like, finally you do it and you sound nothing like him, and you're like awkward and quiet when you listen it back, and you're down on yourself. It's like, you need to do that first episode or that first whatever it is to be able to practice and get better and get to where you want to be. You're not just going to go on the screen and be the next like Beyonce. So I think,
listen, you can't do the 100th until you've done the first, and that's really the whole gig of it. That's great advice, and that's the advice that we would give in the businesses that we started. We just dove in head first. There's people that spent a lot of time and they want to make sure packaging and this and that, and we just said, you know what? Let's just make it happen. Let's just go out and just figure it out. And sometimes you can figure it out that way.
Yeah, you could always give yourself an excuse not to do something, or a reason why it's not going to work, or why you can't do it. But the thing is, you have to move past that, try and move past that, and just do it, like you said.
Yeah, it's like launch first and adjust. Like you learn along the way. It's no matter what you do or how long you wait, it will not be perfect. Whether it's launching a business or starting a YouTube channel, like whatever you do that first week, I promise will 100% not be perfect. So it's like, why are you waiting? And it's just, you're right. We just make excuses for ourselves, which I can't blame anyone because I've done it too. I did it for a whole year before I started.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we all do it, even our age, whatever.
Of course. Absolutely.
We're just human.
Yeah.
That is a human condition, I guess.
Yeah.
So, Jen, how has CBD played into your wellness and self-care routine or journey?
Yeah, so to be honest, it was never something that I felt was like imperative to my routine. I would take it once in a while because I felt like everyone said CBD works wonders. So I would like take it randomly and not really feel anything. Then I connected with you guys and so first of all, besides it working, which I'll get to, I just felt like it was super easy and accessible to understand when to take it. I feel like a lot of CBD brands, in terms of, I guess, just branding and messaging, like it's one CBD oil, take it however you want to take CBD. And I'm just like, I don't really get it. Am I supposed to feel calm? Is this going to make me sleepy? Should I not take it during the day? So I just kind of avoided it. And I once in a while would take if it had like melatonin in it or something. But once I discovered Mindset Wellness, I was just like, oh, so I need to be focused right now. Let me take that. Like, I want to be happier. I'm in a bad mood. Let me take that. And I love that they all have like an added thing in it. So for the happy oil, there's the lemon extract, and it's kind of that essential oil effect too, where like the smell of lemons makes you happier. And then the rest one has melatonin in it. So it's like, you don't have to just rely on the CBD. There's like an added supplement with it to complement it. And it's different for each mindset. So you could just tell it's like super intentional. And I would just feel, it was really weird. I said this on my podcast the other week. I tried the happy oil and like, I got that it was supposed to make me feel happy, but I was like, am I actually going to feel happy? Like, what's going to happen? And then like about an hour later, I realized I was in a great mood. And I totally forgot that I took it because I just like, sometimes you just grab things and like eat a gummy and like go on with your day. And it's one of those things where you realize later in the day, like, oh, wow, my mood did change. Or I was just so focused for the last hour, but it's not in your face, like jittery, like an Adderall would be for instead, or like a sleeping pill NyQuil would be for the rest one. So I just love how subtle it is, because it's supposed to be anxiety relief, but like if it was an in your face kind of thing that gives you more anxiety. So I just love that each one, even if I want to be happier, it's still calming. So that's like been my whole journey with it. I just love that, like, I have my rest one by my bed. I have my happy one like over there, and then I have my focus one here. Like, I just love that I can have it in all different areas and it be super subtle and relaxing no matter the mindset.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. That is amazing. Thank you so much, Jen. You nailed it. Yeah.
You nailed it. You like we were intentional, and that's exactly
you could tell.
We did that. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's why
we created them.
Yeah, that gives me a little goosebumps because you've got exactly what it is we were trying to for you to get, and that's what it was. And so I'm so glad that you're getting it, because that means other people are going to be able to get these benefits and these relief and all of these great
I
things.
had the same experience with CBD before we had our own company. It was confusing. You didn't know when to take it or why to take it or what, and we knew it was doing something, but I just didn't. It wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, listen, from a pure marketing standpoint of saying, how do I get the most people the most benefits? The way I do that is by making it as accessible as possible, right? So the more accessible I make it, the more people are going to try CBD. And so what's great about Mindset is you've got people that have never tried cannabis products or brought CBD into their lives, but they go, oh, this makes sense. Happy, calm, focused.
Right.
This isn't scary. I can understand this. And so we're expanding the audience where it's not just going after the same audience where everybody's looking at the same thing. So that's very exciting. I'm so glad that you're enjoying it as well.
Yeah, and on top of the branding of it that makes it accessible, and I already mentioned like the supplements that I love, like it's not just, oh, this CBD makes you happy. It's like there's an added thing where it's like, no, this is intentional. This is going to make you happy. This is going to make you sleep. Like there's melatonin. But I also appreciate it. I remember when I first was like asking you guys questions about your products, your gummies aren't like loaded with chemicals and unhealthy crap. They're like as healthy as you're going to get a gummy to be. And, you know, usually what I'm looking for in CBD is like in a CBD brand is that, and like, oh, is there added sugar in the oil, or is it organic? Like, I don't want chemicals in my body. And you guys have all of that too. But I didn't even mention that because like the accessibility and the supplement that you add to each one is just why I think I've stuck with it. And it's like a part of my routine now because I have something for each mood, really. Like I was super anxious today, beyond, and I couldn't really figure out why. And I was like, I don't really have time to go meditate. And I was like, oh wait, I have calm gummies. And I took one, and I swear, like, I'm not anxious. And it's just the craziest subtle thing, because you just forget that you took it, and then you realize later, oh, that helped. And that's like super comforting because it's not intimidating or this, which I think is just the idea people have wrong about CBD in general. They think they're going to get like high from it,
Yes.
but you don't realize it. You could take a Zoom meeting, like you don't realize.
Yeah.
Later you realize like, oh, that boosted my mood or my anxiety went away. So I just think you guys really nailed it because you didn't just focus on, you know, organic and making it as, you know, healthy for you as possible, but you went like in every single possible direction. It was so intentional, and it's just perfect.
Well, listen, if we are on a live with Jen Lauren, it means we did something right. So
Thank you.
so I feel really good. I feel really good about that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for getting it. Like, you don't understand. That like makes us so happy when like people actually understand like everything
I'm sure.
about it. You got the whole thing.
Yeah, it's
like,
your baby.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
So you're an influencer. People listen to you. Who do you listen to? Who's guiding you right now?
I like that question. So I mentioned earlier, Lauren Elizabeth was like my inspiration for starting a YouTube channel, and she still is. She has a podcast as well, and she ended up becoming sober recently, and she just takes everyone along the journey without it being like super depressing. It's like we can talk about mental health without that being all of us and without us being like a depressing person just because we want to take care of ourselves or talk about like, yeah, I had a panic attack yesterday and it sucked. Like, it doesn't mean we can't also have fun. So I just love how she's so funny, like so funny, but yet mental health is the forefront of her conversation. And that's like the first person who always comes to mind. And then I also love, similarly, I'm actually sensing a trend. The girls, they have a podcast. It's called Okay Sis. And they're two sisters, Maddie and Scout. I had them on my podcast, and their sisterly dynamic is really funny. But then like Scout grew up with bipolar disorder, and then Maddie didn't, but like had to grow up with, which is how I relate with her. It's like, that's still your story because you grow up having to live with that and like cope with that. But then they're just like super funny and talk about like one of them super spiritual, the other one like thinks it's both can be a seamless conversation, but also like they're super funny and there's so much more to them.
Yeah, that's great. I did have to check those out. I mean,
Yeah.
It's amazing. So also you're on your podcast. You must have you have great guests. I mean, I've heard a lot of them, and I know you have some great guests coming up. Do you want to talk about any of that?
Sure. Well, you guys told me to reach out to, I was looking all over for someone that could talk about human design, because essentially how my like podcast structure goes is I have on a lot of just entrepreneurs and cool people, and I talk about how because anyone could talk about self-care. So I can have anyone on and it would be relevant.
That's very sweet, Jen. We will come on. Thank you.
100%. You're coming on. We already spoke about this. You guys are coming on soon. I cannot wait to talk to you guys about it, because I have yet to have CBD experts on. And so I have a lot of entrepreneurs and cool people, but then I also have an expert on something. I try to do it every month. So like astrology was one, Kundalini was one, human design was the latest episode today. And then I have like influencers and entrepreneurs to talk about how they overcame whatever struggle, because we've all had struggles. We all have to practice self-care, and you can really talk to anyone about it. So it's a lot of like productivity, entrepreneurship, self-care, and then I like to have an expert on once a month. So you guys will be my CBD experts. I'm so excited.
Absolutely.
I love
That's
that.
great.
Yeah, no, your podcast is great. I listened to
Thank you.
all the episodes you just mentioned, the astrology, the Kundalini.
So those are the ones you gravitate towards.
Right.
Good to know.
It's true.
Yes,
I do.
and obviously the podcast is available on all platforms. You can find it everywhere. Dare to Self-Care. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. What else? So what would you recommend to people, like people who are interested in CBD? What would you recommend CBD wise? If they had questions, or what would you say?
Yeah, well, first of all, I would say mindset wellness is all the way, because it makes it beyond accessible. It's not going to get you high. And you guys also, I like that you have like the happy. I actually want to ask you guys, what is the healthy one? I've yet to dabble in that. What's like the supplement?
So health is actually delicious. It's got a watermelon flavor if it's a gummy. Our health formula is based on humulene, which is the special terpene, as each mindset has its own terpene. And humulene is great for inflammation and pain reduction. And it also has vitamin D. And so that's a great way to get your vitamin D for the day.
Yeah.
You get the anxiety relief, you get inflammation relief, pain relief. And so health was based on the concept that if you didn't want to necessarily change your mood or mindset specifically, but you wanted the benefits of CBD, this was a great product for you. So you didn't necessarily move your mood, but you got those benefits.
Yeah, it's like an immune booster.
Yes, right.
Oh, I gotta get those. Okay, yeah. I'm interested.
Yeah, cool. Right.
Amazing. I mainly use the rest, focus, and happy. But I just ran out of focus, so I got to get on that.
Okay.
But those are the main ones I use. So I got to dabble in health a little bit. I think that's, especially like we're all inside all the time right now. We could use any vitamin D we can get.
True.
Absolutely.
It's 100% true.
Yeah.
Also, what I wanted to ask you is, what wellness tips would you give people? Like, what are some of your favorite things to do to take care of yourself?
Well, my first tip is always try everything, because not everything is for everyone, and it shouldn't be a chore. So like if meditation gives you anxiety, first of all, it's practice. You should strengthen it like a muscle. But if it's really giving you anxiety, now is not the time to dabble in it. Like there's so much else you can do. If cooking is your thing, like that is a wellness ritual. If you're not on your phone, you're focused on the task at hand. Like if you love to cook, do that. My favorite thing right now is to just go for a walk and listen to a podcast. And I just like put my phone in my pocket. I'm listening to my favorite podcast and I'm walking and like getting my steps in. So it's something that like people don't realize, oh, that's a wellness ritual. As long as it's good for you and makes you feel good inside and out, like that's wellness. A bath is wellness. So my biggest tip is really just like to try things out and to learn more. Cause the biggest thing biggest thing of feedback I always get from listeners to my podcast is every episode I ask each person for a self-care tip, their favorite self-care tip. And it's always something different. Someone's was sleep, which I loved, because it's like, you think that it has to be during the waking hours of the day and you sacrifice your sleep to like get all this stuff done during the day. But that's like the worst thing you could possibly sacrifice, which now I'm going on a tangent. This is why I hate hustle culture.
Yeah,
I love
We are canceling hustle culture. Cancel hustle culture. Wait, we lost you.
Sorry, my screen time just went off. What I was saying was, I have a great relationship with productivity and hustling. Like my human design, actually, Erin told me, was like, I'm the type of person who is happiest after a huge, long, productive day. Like that's when I feel most fulfilled.
Wait, I need to know what your design is. I need to hear
manifesting generator. What are you?
A manifester.
I think it's similar. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I think they are. I think
you just have a lot more energy than I do, I think. Generator.
That's funny. Yeah. Do you know what you are?
I have no.
Yes, he's a generator.
Yes,
right. I know what he is. I know
there you go.
Family is.
So, because of my human design, it actually made a lot of sense once I learned it, because I do like to hustle. Like I love to be super productive, but hustle culture is more like, okay, so when I listen to podcasts on like how to make it on YouTube, let's say, it's like if you have a full-time job and you want to make it on YouTube, like you're going to have to stay up till 3 a.m. and edit a video. Like, that's what you have to do. You're going to have to sacrifice your sleep. It's like very Gary Vaynerchuk, even though I love him. But it's like that idea of like, you got to sacrifice your sleep, sacrifice your social life to like make it. And for me, I'm like, but my message is taking care of yourself. So how can I stay up all night editing and not take care of myself? If my message is to take care of yourself, there has to be another way. So I forget even how we got here, but my whole thing is
I can just say there's 100% another way. I spent an incredible amount of hustle hard time building mixology from nothing to something. And it was the most unenjoyable time I'd ever spent.
There you go.
And now doing this, and I'm just letting it happen, and I'm not hustling hard. I'm just letting things flow. It's happening 10 times quicker. It's happening 10 times bigger. And it's all because it's just in flow. You don't have to hustle hard.
No, there's productivity, like we said, but take care of yourself. The more you rest and take care of yourself, the more you can get done. And
rest is productive.
And like the ideas flow. Like when I'm my most energized and I'm going on a walk and I'm not stressing about coming up with an idea, let's say, for example, like that's when my ideas flow. That's where when you open yourself up to inspiration, when you just have quality family time or friend time and like let yourself live, there's so much more inspiration out there. And you can, like you said, like it wasn't enjoyable. You need to enjoy the journey if you're going to hustle. And I knew there had to be another way. And there is. Like, make best friends with your Google Calendar, find the time, use time batching, and just like if I had a really long day and I was supposed to edit a video at night, I'm like, I will be so angry while I'm editing this video. Like, I would so much rather wake up a little earlier, let myself wind down tonight, because I have experienced, I'm sure you have too, intense burnout. It's not just that you're, tired for a day and you get some sleep. It's like long periods of burnout where the smallest tasks feel like the biggest burden. For example, like I said, editing a video, like, not that that's my favorite thing to do in general, but instead of just quickly getting it done, it became this like big burden in my mind because I was so burnt out. And there's just such a way to avoid it, and you don't have to sacrifice your sleep. That will be your worst work ever if you're staying up all night doing your side hustle, waking up, giving your all to your day job, and then doing it all over again. Like, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, and in addition to that, it's going to cause stress in your body, and that stress in your body is going to cause disease in your body, and that's how people get sick, and that's how people have aches and pains and all of that stuff. So if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not giving your body enough time to rest, or taking CBD, or doing all meditating, walking, cooking, all of those things that you mentioned are great and so important.
And it just makes you enjoy life. Like, what's the point of all this? Like, at the end of the day.
And that's
that's it. That's exactly it.
That's our other tagline, right? Do what makes you happy. That's basically it. If you figure out what makes you happy and you can figure out how to do that, then everything else seems to fall into place.
Right. Like, one of my favorite things to do is wake up in the morning and just say, oh, today is a great day. And then today is a great day. Like, no matter what, if you go in with the intention, today is a great day, you're going to have a good day. Like, you're going to get through whatever
you got to tell yourself. You got to tell yourself a good story. Right, anyway, if anybody is interested in trying Mindset Wellness CBD, we have a great situation with Jen, and you can use Jen's code JenLauren10 at Mindset Wellness CBD. You're going to get 10% off, and you're going to get free shipping. And so that's a great opportunity to try Mindset. Sampler is a great way to start. And rest is on the way, guys. So thank you for your patience. We are a craft CBD company, and it does take time to make this stuff right, but rest is on the way.
And to find Jen, you want to tell them how to find you?
Sure. So you can click on my Instagram here. It's Jen_Lauren with 2 N's. All of my links and everything are there. But if you want to find my podcast, it is in there in the bio, but it's Dare to Self-Care Pod on Instagram, and then all of the links to listen are in the bio, or just search Dare to Self-Care on anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Love it.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys. I'm so excited to go. I'm also excited to hear that like you're running low on rest, because I have a lot left. So now I'm going to be like really
Yeah.
precious
I
with
heard
my
with
rest.
secondary market, if you want to move it on, I think if you want to move it on eBay, there is potential. So,
There you go.
yeah. All right, Jen. Thank you so much.
Have a
Thank
good
you
night.
so much. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.